Welcome to Planet WP's Complete Guide to WordPress SEO video training series. My name is Mark, and I'll be your guide as we dive into the exciting realm of search engine optimization, or SEO. In the lessons that follow, we will introduce you to the foundational elements of WordPress SEO and provide you with specific instructions on how to optimize your WordPress site. SEO can be quite complex and is often viewed as an overwhelming task, even for experienced content marketers and web developers. But don't worry, it's actually much easier than you think, especially since you're running the WordPress platform. Actually, out of the box, WordPress is relatively SEO friendly, meaning it comes ready to embrace search engines. It also comes with several built-in SEO tools, which we'll cover later in this series. Additionally, WordPress allows you the ability to expand and extend its core features through third-party plugins. So we'll show you which SEO plugins work best and how to use them. Most importantly, we'll teach you the important pressure points of WordPress SEO, so you can spend your valuable time on the parts of your website that matter most. At this point you may be asking, how does SEO work? Or why should I care about SEO? Well, simply put, if you own a website, search results matter. The better your SEO, the higher your website will rank in search results. Let's face it, almost everyone relies on search engines to find the relevant content they're looking for. Despite what some may say, search engines are the biggest source of traffic for most websites. As a result, SEO is the most effective way to get your WordPress site recognized and increase the amount of visitors to your site. Plus, these aren't just any visitors passing by. These are people that found your website based on a highly intelligent algorithm that determined your site has what they're looking for. Understanding search engines is an important part of SEO, so we start off this series by explaining how search engines operate in the next video. So that's it. SEO is important because search results matter. You'll also experience other benefits by following our SEO best practices, since many of your efforts will carry over into other aspects of your website, such as improved performance and increased security of your WordPress site, two factors that are taken into account with site rankings. Good SEO takes time, so the sooner you get started, the sooner you'll move up the search results ladder. Ever wonder how major search engines such as Google, Yahoo, and Bing rank your website within their search results? If so, you've come to the right place. In this video tutorial, we're going to explain how search engines work. More specifically, we'll discuss the primary functions of search engines, such as how they scan and index information on the web and provide search patrons with the most relevant listings based on their request. Understanding these components is a critical part of SEO and can help us as we begin our endeavors of optimizing our site for search engines. Imagine for a moment that you're a librarian. When people come into your library, it's your job to help them find the book they're looking for. Now, imagine that your library is a giant one that consists of over 130 million books with no formal organized filing system. Well, how do you do it? First, you need a system, and a great one for that matter. Your system needs to know what's on over 100 trillion pages. Additionally, it needs to answer up to 40,000 customer inquiries per second and spit out the most relevant answers to each question. Search engines like Google, Yahoo, and Bing are the librarians, and the giant library is the internet. And yes, search engines like Google have a system to collect information about every page on the internet to provide their customers with the most relevant search results. So there it is. The systems search engines deploy consist of three primary functions: crawling, indexing, and ranking. First, to locate relevant content on over 100 trillion web pages, a search engine deploys a spider, also referred to as a bot or crawler, which is a program that finds relevant information and builds a list of words found on each site, a process known as web crawling. Crawling is where it all begins, and for that matter, it never ends. Spiders quickly and frequently scan sites and compile a list of everything presented on the site, including content, page titles, headers, keywords, images, link pages, and much, much more. The second function of search engines is indexing. In this step, the bot processes all of the information it gathers and compiles a massive index of the words and the respective location. The last function is providing users with a list of relevant results based on their search. When a user enters a query, the search engine scans the index to locate the most relevant sites. It then returns the results it believes are most relevant to the user. We refer to this as ranking. Ranking is determined by many factors. For example, Google uses over 200 ranking factors to identify the relevancy of their search listings. These ranking factors are part of a complex algorithm, and Google does not openly disclose what these ranking factors are. However, through a combination of research, testing, and most importantly, experience, the important factors of good SEO are known. In addition, Google is constantly adjusting and updating its search result terms. So a website that is ranked at the top of a results page today may have a different position next month. Throughout this video training series, we'll cover the most important ranking factors to optimize your WordPress site for higher rankings on search engines. Well, that about wraps it up for this video on how search engines work. It's important to note that in order for your website to rank well, it's important that you make sure the search engine can crawl and index your website correctly, which we'll cover in the subsequent video tutorials. In this tutorial, we are going to adjust the permalink structure in WordPress to make our URLs more SEO friendly. Before making any changes, let's quickly define permalinks. Permalinks are permanent URLs to individual posts or pages, or categories and tags, on our WordPress site. By default, WordPress assigns a permalink using the query string format that includes a question mark, the letter P, followed by an equal sign and a unique ID number that is assigned to our page or post. These are commonly referred to as ugly permalinks. Well, because they're just ugly. Not only are ugly permalinks unrecognizable to our viewers, they are also useless to search engine spiders. As you may have guessed, the term pretty permalink is used to describe a URL that is constructed in a way that makes sense to those who view them, both humans and robots. Rather than having incomprehensible parameters for our permalinks, question mark equals P number, we can easily create well-structured, readable, user-friendly, and most importantly, SEO-friendly URLs simply by changing the default permalink structure from within the Permalinks Settings screen. To begin, navigate to Settings, Permalinks from the left side navigation menu. The first option here is the plain query string format. Plain for plain ugly. So we definitely don't want that. We can choose a different, more desirable default permalink structure from the predefined options, such as day and name, month and name, numeric, post name, or we can create our own custom structure using a structure tag or combination of structure tags. You may notice that when I click the radio button for each option, the custom structure will update to reflect my selection. However, if we select custom structure, we can create our own by entering the structure tag or combination of structure tags. There are a total of 10 structure tags to choose from, including the year, month, day, hour, minute, and second, post ID, post name, category, and author. Here's a pro tip. Regardless of your structure tag selection or combination thereof, always make sure that the custom structure ends with the post ID or post name structure tag. This ensures that our permalink points to an individual page or post. For simplicity and SEO purposes, we recommend that you select the post name option. In this tutorial, we're going to set a preferred domain in the WordPress General Settings screen. In the last video, we verified that our site is visible to search engines through the Settings Reading subpanel menu. The next important housekeeping item for SEO is to set a preferred domain in the General subpanel menu. We can enter how we want the URL of our site to appear to the public and to search engines by modifying the WordPress address URL and the site address URL fields. Essentially, the options we have are to include or exclude the www. Now, search engines don't have a preference whether our preferred domain is set to www.oursite.com or just oursite.com. However, it is important that we decide on a preferred domain and stick to it. Subsequently, we'll need to set it up in the Google Search Console, formerly Webmaster Tools, to match how it is listed here. We'll cover that, among other important features in the Search Console, later in this series. It's important to note that either domain, namely with or without the www, will still take the visitor to the same location. However, Google recognizes these domains as two completely different sites. For example, at Planet WP, we chose to do away with the www and set it up accordingly in the Search Console. By default, even if you were to type in our address with the www, that is www.planetwp.com, you will still be taken to our website. Feel free to test it out if you don't believe us. Again, we'll provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to set everything up in the Google Search Console later in this series. Now that we have a general understanding of how search engines work, we must ensure that the visibility settings are set up correctly on our WordPress site. We begin by logging into the admin area of WordPress and navigating to Settings from the left side navigation menu, and then Reading. Scroll down to the last option entitled Search Engine Visibility, and ensure that the box next to Discourage Search Engines from Indexing this site is not, I repeat, not checked. If unchecked, our site will be visible to search engines, which is definitely what we want. But wait, why would we ever want our site not to be visible to search engines? Great question. WordPress comes with this option to hide our website from search engine spiders and their ability to index our website, in the case that we want to make changes to our site before releasing it to the public. While unlikely, there is a chance that this setting is enabled, which would be a big hindrance on our ability to optimize our site. Now, just because our site is visible doesn't mean it will rank high in search engines. For example, Google uses complex algorithms with many factors when scanning, indexing, and evaluating relevant content on websites to identify their ranking. This is where SEO comes into play. That is, taking control of what is visible to search engine spiders by making strategic changes to your website's code and format, which we'll cover throughout this series. Link juice is a colloquial term used to describe the amount of positive ranking factor that a link passes to a site via links from internal and external sources. To elaborate, every website has its own ranking, which is governed by the combined page rank, or ranking capacity, of all the individual pages on the website. PageRank is an algorithm used by Google that evaluates the quality and quantity of links to a web page, based on a score of 0 to 10, to determine that page's importance and authority. When another website includes a link to our site, the search engine recognizes this as a vote by the other website that our site includes valuable content worth promoting. Web pages with a higher page rank are more valuable, and therefore contain more of the link juice we are seeking. So the quality and quantity of links pointing to our page are important factors in deciding how a search engine should rank our page in search results. First, it's important to note that link juice flows in both directions. So let's begin by discussing how we receive link juice from external sites. Let's suppose there are two websites, Site A and Site B, with Site A having two external sites linking to it, and Site B having only one. Assuming that all of the external sites have the same authority, Site A will rank higher in search results due to the higher volume of link juice it receives. This is a fairly simple concept, so let's take into consideration some additional factors. For example, what if the websites linking to Site A also link to multiple other websites, whereas the website linking to Site B is exclusive? If that's the case, Site B will actually receive more link juice than Site A, and therefore have a higher ranking. Here are some key takeaways and SEO best practices with regard to link juice. First and foremost, quality over quantity. Links from pages with a high page rank are worth far more than those from low authority pages. Next, the recipient of link juice will receive more when there are less links on the page that it is flowing from. For example, a link from a page that has 3 links is far more valuable than a link from a page that has 10 links. Also, pages with relevant content and links that use keyword-optimized anchor text pass along more link juice. And link juice is more valuable when passed between 2 pages that have relevant content and/or similar use of keywords. In addition, links from unpaid sources are far more valuable than paid sources. And finally, use both direct and indirect link building techniques to get more link juice. Direct link building strategies include guest posts, sponsored posts, email outreach, social media sharing, etc. The indirect techniques are those that naturally generate more links, such as writing quality content, the type of rich content that our visitors want to share, and other websites may want to reference. Another technique is to build relationships with relevant industry partners, as this might earn us more links in the future. In addition to link juice flowing inward and outward between our site and external sites, it also flows internally throughout our site's pages. In the subsequent video tutorial, we'll discuss the importance of evenly distributing link juice within our site by way of internal links. Every high-ranking website has a lot of link juice evenly spread throughout their site, with a good number of links from credible external sites pointing its way. With regard to SEO, oftentimes many make the mistake of not evenly distributing link juice internally within their own site by only concentrating link juice on certain parts of their site, for example, just on the homepage, with little to no link juice dripping into those deeply nested pages. By effectively interlinking our pages and posts, we can obtain deeper links, which is what Google wants to see. Actually, with the Google Panda update, websites with a high concentration of links pointing only to their homepage are actively penalized, so obtaining deeper links is an absolute must. Here are some SEO best practice tips with regards to internal distribution of link juice. First, construct a table to calculate the number of internal links you have on each page. In doing so, we can understand the distribution of internal links and whether or not we need to focus on distributing link juice more evenly throughout our site. It's no surprise that through balanced link juice distribution, each page will likely rank higher in search results. Secondly, identify the high value and low value pages as well as their performance. To elaborate, if we have a high valued page that isn't performing well, we can simply link it to another page that is performing particularly well, for example, one with high traffic or quality inbound links. In addition, identifying low value pages can help us focus on the pages that matter most. Pages such as the Contact Us, About, or Meet the Team page offer no real benefit to us with regard to search results. Consider these low-valued pages as the only exception to the evenly distributing link juice rule. Next, build an SEO-friendly site architecture through effective use of internal links. As a rule of thumb, no single page should be more than 3 clicks away from the home page. Search engine spiders need to be able to easily browse the pathways of a website in order to list pages in the search engine's keyword-based index. Having a crawlable link structure makes our content more visible, allowing spiders the ability to find all the pages on our site. Creating a minimum amount of links between any given page and the home page allows link juice to flow evenly throughout our site, thus increasing the page rank for each page. One common method of accomplishing this is through the use of category and subcategory systems. And lastly, utilize the SEO tools that you have available to your advantage. The Google Search Console has a report that shows which pages have the most internal links pointing to them. Once logged into the Search Console, we can access this report by going to Search Traffic and selecting Internal Links. As such, we can identify which pages can pass the most authority to others and where that link juice needs to go. With the WordPress platform, we have complete control over our site, so creating and managing internal links is easy. Incorporating imagery into our WordPress page and post content is a critical part of creating an engaging experience for our website visitors. Images enhance our website's appearance and set the tone and brand for our entire site. Yet for some reason, one of the most common overlooked part of WordPress SEO is image optimization. If we're not cautious, improper use of images can bog down our site. The large file sizes associated with improper use of images can result in increased page load times and account for over half of our site's total size. With that said, let's quickly discuss the impact images have on SEO. First off, Google understands that images add quality to our content and therefore reward us with a better ranking. However, site speed is also a ranking factor, and nobody likes a website that takes ages to load. Therefore, slow loading page times will negatively impact our SEO score. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, but this is where the importance of image optimization comes into play. It's critically important that we optimize our images prior to uploading them to our website. In order to do this, there are three important things that we must take into consideration: image file type, image dimensions and file size, and image file name. In addition, adding the right types of markers to our images, such as writing good alt tags, title tags, and captions, alongside proper placement and positioning of our images, can earn us even more SEO brownie points. We've saved this for the subsequent video tutorial entitled Image Attributes, since it's a well-known best practice for SEO. Let's begin by discussing image file types. Nearly all images on the internet are either in the PNG, JPEG, or GIF file format. While all of these image file types are acceptable and compatible with WordPress, there are certain cases where we may want to save the file in one format over the other. Unfortunately, people often choose the wrong file type when saving their images prior to uploading them, which can result in an unnecessarily large file size or poor quality image. If we choose the right file type, we can keep our images crisp without slowing down our site. For example, a PNG file preserves the original image's quality, which is great for logos and graphics. However, if we're working with high quality photos, saving it as a PNG will result in a large file size. Therefore, to reduce the file size of high quality photos while still keeping them crisp, we should save them as a JPEG. To simplify proper selection of image file types, stick to the following rules. Use JPEGs for photographs of people, places, or things, as well as designs with a lot of color. Avoid using on screenshots and text or graphics. Use PNGs with images that include text and graphics, such as logos, screenshots, or on images with a transparent background. This will keep the graphics looking clean, but be cautious with regard to file size. Use GIFs for short animated images, or flat images without gradients. Next, let's discuss image dimensions and file size. A common issue that most WordPress users make is that they do not format the size of their images properly prior to uploading them. In most cases, when you upload an image with dimensions that are especially large, WordPress will automatically format the image to align it with the dimensions of your site. However, it does not compress the file size of the image. Images that have a large file size drag down our site's load time, which negatively affects our rankings on search engines. The solution? Reduce the image file size by adjusting the image dimensions to the exact width of our content area on our site. For example, at Planet WP, we format our pictures to the size of the post's width, which is roughly 750 pixels wide, prior to uploading them into WordPress. The obvious best method to sizing our images accordingly is to specify the dimensions upon exporting the image through an image editing software. For example, when using Photoshop or Illustrator, we can easily customize the image to match the exact dimensions of our website. If you want more editing options and don't have access to an image editing software application, you can always edit your images online for free through Pixlr, or download a free image editor such as GIMP. Another option is to use a native application on your computer, such as Preview on Mac or Paint on a Windows PC, to resize an existing image. For example, in Preview, I simply navigate to Tools and then select Adjust Size. This is a very simple way of aligning the picture dimensions to match the dimensions of my site, thereby reducing the file size. Lastly, for SEO purposes, it's important that we always name our image file appropriately. For example, if we're uploading a picture of the planet Venus, the image name should not be pwp2017.jpg, but rather planet-venus.jpg, or something along those lines. Here's a pro tip. Always shoot for the main keyword in the article as the first word of the image file name. Bear in mind that search engine spiders not only crawl our website's content, but also recognize keywords within the file names of our images. As such, creating descriptive, keyword-rich file names for our images can help improve our chance of SEO success. When it comes to discussing SEO success factors, a common phrase you'll hear over and over again is "content is king." This dates back to 1996 when Microsoft's founder Bill Gates famously made this statement. Bill wasn't wrong, as content is an integral part of search engine optimization, but so is context, which is why I prefer the phrase "content is king, but context is God." Let's further define these factors for additional clarity. Content is the valuable information directed towards your audience. It should have substance and depth. Context is the circumstances and facts that surround a situation, statement, or idea. Otherwise put, context is the terms of which content can be fully understood and assessed. When it comes to content, it's important that you focus on quality, relevance, and freshness. But what's even more important is that your valuable content is delivered the right way, so that in addition to understanding it, the reader can also relate to it. This is what keeps them coming back for more. Let's take a closer look at the elements of good content writing. The quality of your content is of critical importance. Again, by quality, we are referring to the perceived value of your content as it relates to the reader. Quality content is evergreen. It withstands the test of time and has a lasting impression on your site visitors and search engines. From an SEO perspective, relevant content is the cornerstone upon which all ranking factors rely on. Search engines send bots to scan your website, which includes your site's code and its written copy. If you're able to convince search engines that your written copy matches the search query, the higher your page and its content will rank on the search engine's results page. So what does quality content consist of? Well, quality is subjective, so it's imperative that you understand your audience and create content that appeals to them. Quality content is relatable, so be original, poignant, and use a writing style that appeals to the intended receiver. Speak in an active voice and always ensure that your content is easy to read. There are a number of different tactics you can employ to draw attention to your blog, promote greater readership, and keep your audience engaged. Some examples include: first, content should be written with the objective of appealing to the targeted prospect or site visitor. Yes, we want to appeal to search engines as well, but that should be an afterthought. Keep sentences and paragraphs short and precise. You want all types of visitors to be able to understand your content. Use a font and size, for example 16, that is easy to read on all devices. Break up content with formatting options, such as headers, subheaders, bullet points and lists, bolding, etc. Include visual aids such as images, infographics, and videos. Always ensure that you include a satisfactory amount of content on your pages and posts. The ideal length for an article should be 1,500 to 2,500 words. This length is reader-friendly and will help boost your SEO ranking. Remember, the best content is rendered useless if no one reads it, so keep your users engaged from start to finish. An important part of writing excellent content for SEO depends on the use of relevant keywords. Strategically incorporating certain keywords, namely those words people are using in their search query, into your content can draw organic traffic to your site. We have a separate video designated to strategically using keywords for search engine optimization, since with the recent Google Panda update, overuse or misuse of keywords can actually result in an over-optimization penalty, or recognized as keyword spamming by Google. As such, avoid stuffing your article with keywords in an effort to increase keyword density. Search engine spiders feed on fresh content. Simply put, if you frequently update your website with fresh, high-quality content, you will be rewarded with an SEO boost. By frequently updating your website with new articles, pages and posts, images, downloadable resources, etc., the more frequently a search engine will stop by to visit your site, resulting in greater opportunity to obtain a higher ranking based on your site's newly released content. Understanding what is perceived as great content and context is just the beginning. Actually implementing these best practices, that is, only having excellent content that adheres to these suggestions site-wide, can be viewed as an overwhelming task. After all, not all of us are experienced journalists or copy editors by trade. Thankfully, with WordPress, we don't have to be. So as long as we have the tools that can analyze our content and provide us with valuable insight on how to improve our content for SEO. The Yoast SEO plugin does just that through the Content and SEO Analysis tool, which analyzes the content in our pages and posts in real time and identifies areas for improvement, thereby providing us with feedback on how to make our written copy more readable and, of course, more SEO friendly. We cover the Content and SEO Analysis tool in great detail in the Yoast SEO mini-series section later in this course. In this video, we're going to introduce you to Google Trends, a powerful and versatile tool for SEO. Good SEO starts with identifying our audience and their interests by exploring trends. If we understand how our target audience searches for specific topics, we can tailor our content accordingly and strategically use keywords to increase our website's visibility in search results. Google Trends is a valuable tool that can help us with this process. Not only can we explore trends of specific terms and view their interest over time, we can also see where the searches are coming from. At the top of the page, Google Trends provides us with a chart that reflects the interest of the search term over time on a relative scale from 0 to 100. A value of 100 is the highest point on the chart and represents the peak popularity for the term. This data is normalized. Therefore, if the value is 50 at any given point in time, this means that the term was half as popular as when it was at its peak. We can filter our results using 4 parameters: by region, which is currently set to worldwide, time frame, specific category, or the type of web search, such as an image search, news search, Google Shopping, or YouTube search. Google Trends also breaks down the search term by region, so we can see where the greatest level of interest is coming from. The values are also relative and calculated on a scale from 0 to 100, where 100 is the location with the most popularity. We can drill down further to view especially strong markets by clicking on a specific location. For example, if I click on the United States, I can view the results by state, then by metro, then city, and so on. This tool is invaluable for local search optimization and geo-targeted campaigns. Best of all, Google provides us with related topics, which is a list of terms that users also searched for in addition to our search term. We can filter related topics by top, which lists them in order of popularity, that is, those that scored high on the relative scale, or by rising, which are those related topics that recently experienced the biggest increase in search frequency. The results marked as breakout recently had a significant increase, which may also be a new search term with little, if any at all, prior search history. Google Trends also allows us to compare up to 5 search terms side by side. Each search term is color-coded, so we can easily compare the results of each term with regard to their level of interest over time and popularity by region. If we scroll down, we can see the individual results for each of the search terms, such as the interest by region and related search queries. We can even search for or compare groupings of keywords at one time, with up to 25 terms in each grouping. This is done by using the plus sign between search terms. For example, if we search for Batman plus Superman, we're telling Google that we want to view the combined trends on searches for either Batman or Superman. Well, we hope you found this tutorial helpful and put the Google Trends tool to good use. In this video, we're going to introduce you to CDNs. More specifically, what a CDN is and how using one can improve our website's performance, resulting in an overall positive impact on SEO. It's important to reiterate that site speed is a ranking factor, and if our page load time is too slow, it can hinder our website's ability to be found on Google's search engine results page. Let's begin by defining a CDN and explaining how it works. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network, and, as indicated by its name, delivers content through a network of geographically dispersed servers. To elaborate, a CDN utilizes a large network of servers strategically deployed in multiple data centers to cache, store, and distribute our website's content, primarily static files such as images, videos, style sheets, JavaScript, CSS files, etc., based on the proximity of the site visitor. So why should we use a CDN? Well, there are many studies that suggest that page load speed directly impacts many factors, such as bounce rates and conversion rates. To put things in perspective, roughly 57% of website visitors abandon a website if it takes more than 3 seconds to load. And for every extra second it takes for the page to load, conversion rates fall by roughly 12%. With that said, site speed is critically important, as reduced page load times will retain site visitors, increase traffic and conversions, and since page load speed is a known ranking factor in search engine rankings, reducing page load times will likely increase our chance of SEO success. So, how does a CDN work? Well, by storing content closer to the user accessing our site, content can be delivered more efficiently, thereby reducing server response time and improving page load speed. Otherwise put, a CDN puts our website's content in many places at once, rather than only delivering content from our web hosting server, thereby providing superior coverage to our users, regardless of their geographic location. The key benefits of using a CDN are as follows. Improves page load speeds, handles high volumes of traffic, shortens response times, reduces bandwidth consumption, and provides a superior experience to our site visitors. The rabbit hole actually goes much deeper when we evaluate the inner workings of a CDN and its advantages, but for simplicity, we'll leave it at that. Thankfully, since we're running the WordPress platform, we have many options when it comes to implementing a CDN. Feel free to explore all CDN solutions that are available, but our professional recommendation is Cloudflare, which is arguably the best well-known CDN solution for WordPress, and it's 100% free regardless of bandwidth, so we don't have to worry about being charged extra if we hit certain limits. According to Cloudflare, the average site using their CDN loads twice as fast, which is in large due to their network of 28 data centers spread across the globe. Best of all, installing Cloudflare for WordPress is very easy and takes about 5 minutes. The majority of the configuration process is done in the Cloudflare interface, but we also need access to our hosting domain registrar account to change our DNS details to Cloudflare's name servers. The entire process is fairly straightforward, and Cloudflare walks us through each process step by step. We can even install the Cloudflare WordPress plugin, which allows us the ability to manage our Cloudflare account from within WordPress, rather than navigating to the cloudflare.com dashboard. Website security is often an overlooked part of SEO, as many website owners don't recognize the correlation between security protocols and their rankings on search engines. The fact of the matter is, if our website is compromised, it can quickly decimate our website's reputation and our SEO efforts. Reason being, Google is committed to providing its users with a safe online experience. To do this, they invest heavily in identifying websites with malicious software, or malware, and flag them accordingly. If Google determines that our website has malware, they'll blacklist it, a process that involves removing our site from their index and displaying a warning to our site visitors. It's estimated that Google blacklists approximately 30,000 websites for containing malware and another 50,000 for detecting phishing per day. And to put things in perspective, those sites that have been blacklisted lose nearly 95% of their organic search traffic. Ouch. So where do we begin? For starters, there are many WordPress resources and best practices that we can implement to increase the security of our site and protect it against hacks. We won't go into every detail in this video, since WordPress security is multifaceted and contains a lot of moving parts. However, we will address some important key items that directly impact SEO. As expected, proactively addressing website security is optimum, but it's equally important to have a reactive backup and restoration strategy in place. We'll circle back to the latter shortly. For now, let's discuss some of the techniques and best practices that harden our website, further ensuring that it is safe and free of vulnerabilities. The first item on the list is updates. It's critically important that we update our WordPress plugins and themes regularly. Exploitation attempts against vulnerable software, specifically outdated plugins and themes, is the #1 reason why WordPress websites get hacked. According to a report by WP White Security, 51% of attacks are made through an outdated WordPress plugin or theme. The longer we go without performing updates, the more vulnerable our site is to getting hacked. As a rule of thumb, we recommend logging in at least twice a week to check for updates. With that said, that leads us into our next best practice. That is, choose plugins and themes wisely. Be picky. We know it's tempting. There are so many shiny plugins available at the click of a mouse. Nevertheless, given that plugins are the leading cause of vulnerabilities in WordPress, it's important that we only install reputable plugins or themes that we are going to use. Before downloading one, consider all available options. Read through the reviews and comments, check to see when the plugin or theme was last updated, and view the plugin or theme's download count. Here's a pro tip. If we are ever hesitant about a must-have plugin or theme, we can always check its history online to see if it has a track record of vulnerabilities by visiting the WP Scan Vulnerability Database, a website dedicated to cataloging WordPress plugin and themes vulnerabilities. Simply go to wpvulndb.com and search for the plugin or theme by name. With all this talk about plugins, you must be asking, is there a WordPress security plugin that improves the security of my site? Well, that's a great question, and there are multiple security plugins that feature a plethora of security functions. For example, our professional recommendation is the WordFence security plugin, which is the most downloaded security plugin for WordPress websites. WordFence is completely free and features a web application firewall that adds a layer of security by identifying malicious traffic and blocking hackers before they gain access to our site. The free version also includes a malware scanner, which does exactly that, and leads us into our next best practice, that is, proactively scanning our site. By utilizing WordFence's scan function, we are able to scan our website's core files, themes, and plugins for malware, code injections, and any backdoors that would otherwise leave our site vulnerable. The scanner also checks the integrity of installed plugins against the WordPress.org repository, checks URLs against Google's safe browsing list, and scans our site for DNS changes. That might sound complex, but WordFence is doing all the heavy lifting. So using this plugin simplifies the process of proactively hardening our site. Another critically important part of website security lies within the retroactive security techniques we implement to protect our valuable content. Otherwise put, the aforementioned best practices may harden our website and mitigate the risk of a security breach. Nevertheless, it's equally important that we protect our website by having a solid backup and restore strategy in place in the case of an unfortunate security breach. Now, there are many backup plugin solutions for WordPress. And when selecting one, ensure that the solution offers to store the backup files off-site, for example, on Google Drive or a Dropbox account. Our professional recommendation is Updraft Plus, which is the highest ranking backup plugin for WordPress with over 1 million current active installs. Updraft Plus is a free general purpose backup and restore plugin. And we can back up our website's files and database on-site, as well as off-site to a cloud service, such as Google Drive, Dropbox, or Amazon S3 account, among others. Storing our files off-site reduces the risk of contamination or backup loss should an attack on our site occur. Otherwise put, we can have our website files stored safely in an off-site location, thereby simplifying the restoration process in the case we need to start fresh with a new WordPress install. It's important to note that all websites on the internet are vulnerable to attacks and security threats. And as a website owner, it's our responsibility to have both proactive and reactive strategies in place to protect not just our website and the valuable data we've created over the years, but also our ranking and search engines. Back in 2014, Google announced they would begin using HTTPS as a ranking signal when displaying search results, meaning those sites that have an SSL encryption are rewarded with an SEO boost. More recently, Google has upped the ante on website security by announcing that, effective January 2017, their Chrome internet browser will begin marking non-secure pages that collect passwords and credit card information as not secure in the URL bar. It's worth noting that WordPress websites have an administrative login page that requires a password. Therefore, by default, our WordPress site falls into this category. The current warning is gray and not too terribly noticeable. However, Google recently confirmed that this warning will begin to appear on all websites served over HTTP, and the warning will be in red. This ugly red caution sign can easily be interpreted by site visitors that they are at risk when visiting our site. This all sounds pretty serious, and Google's initiatives put website security front and center. But in the SEO realm, a little effort can go a long way. Let's begin by breaking down what this all means by first explaining HTTP, HTTPS, and the difference between the two. Essentially, there are two different types of protocols, HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is the protocol over which all data is transferred between the client's web browser and the website they are connected to. HTTP has been working great for ages, plus it's fast and reliable. On the other hand, it's about secure as a diamond at a cat burglar's convention. Data transmitted over HTTP connection is dangerous and vulnerable to being intercepted by third parties, especially on public wireless networks or compromised routers. The second protocol, namely HTTPS, is the secure counterpart to HTTP. It literally stands for HTTP Secure. HTTPS uses an SSL, or Secure Sockets Layer, which is the standard security technology for establishing an encrypted link between the user accessing our site and our server. This link ensures that all data passed between the web server and the browser remains private and secure. If you're currently running a site on HTTP, we strongly encourage that you make the switch to HTTPS and add a valid SSL certificate. In addition to the SEO benefit you'll receive, switching to HTTPS will protect sensitive information like passwords and credit card information from being stolen. We also won't have to worry about scaring our visitors away through warning alerts in their web browser. Actually, it's quite the opposite. By having an HTTPS, users will likely see a positive green notification in their web browser, such as a green lock icon with the HTTPS portion highlighted in green. There are a couple different types of SSL certificates, so what is displayed in the URL bar ultimately depends on the type of certificate you acquire from a trusted third party. Unfortunately, we won't address the details of migrating our site from HTTP to HTTPS, as we don't want to overcomplicate things. For example, it may be as simple as reaching out to our hosting provider, as many hosting companies offer an upgraded package that includes an SSL certificate. Migration can be very straightforward, but it's important that the SSL certificate is installed correctly, and that 301 redirects are set up so that search engines are notified that our site's address has changed. Nevertheless, the clear conclusion is that HTTPS isn't going away, and by migrating your site to HTTPS, you'll remain in Google's good graces. The Yoast SEO plugin features a dashboard that informs us if it detected any serious SEO problems. It also includes a notification center with specific details on those items that need attention, and in most cases, provides us with recommendations on how to resolve the issue. There are two ways to access the dashboard. We can go to SEO from the left side navigation menu and click Dashboard, or we can hover our mouse over the Yoast icon displayed in the top toolbar and click on Notifications. As you can see, the toolbar has a 1 next to it, indicating that we have one notification. In this example, the plugin is notifying us that we have paging comments enabled in our discussion settings screen, and they recommend that we disable it. It even includes a link that will take us to our discussion settings screen so we can fix the issue. The dashboard is just the first tab of 7 that are listed in the General screen. The tab entitled General includes a link to Yoast Configuration Wizard, which if you haven't completed, we suggest that you do so. We can also view the contributing team behind Yoast, or restore the default settings. The Features tab allows us to enable or disable Yoast features, including the ability to enable or disable advanced settings, the onpage.org integration that checks to ensure our site is indexable, the admin bar menu, which again is the notification icon in our toolbar, and the Metabox Insights section. We encourage that you leave all of these features enabled. You can update your information using the Company Info tab, which includes defining your website's name for Google's site name markup and selecting whether you are a company or a person for Google's knowledge graph. If you haven't verified your site with the Google Search Console, formerly Webmaster Tools, you can do so in the Webmaster Tools tab. We have a separate video tutorial on creating a Google Search Console account, since verifying your site with Google is a critical part of SEO. The Yoast SEO tool includes this feature to simplify the process, since most beginners aren't comfortable modifying their PHP files. Otherwise put, you can input the meta tag that Google provides you with to verify your site in the respective field here. The Security tab features only one option, to enable or disable the advanced part of the WordPress SEO meta box. We recommend that you disable this option. This will prevent authors from making changes such as redirects and no index, which could impact your SEO score. As the admin, you'll still have control over these items. The last and final tab is the Site-Wide Analysis. This provides us with a snapshot of how we are using prominent words, or keywords, throughout our site. In this example, we have 3 posts and all of them contain prominent words. The Yoast SEO plugin has a content and SEO analysis feature that is baked into the WordPress editor. This provides us with a detailed list of the important content-related and SEO-related factors that impact both the readability of our content and its ranking in search engines. This tool can be accessed from within any page or post. We'll start by going to Post, All Posts from the left side navigation menu and open an existing post. Scroll down to view the Yoast Content Analysis tool. This tool analyzes our content in real time and provides us with a list of recommended best practices to ensure that our content is easy to read. Content readability is an important factor of SEO and greatly improves the user experience. The analysis tool features suggestions that are listed in order of importance, with items needing the most attention listed at the top. They are also color-coded. Items that need immediate attention have a red bullet point next to them. As expected, an orange bullet point indicates other items of significance, whereas the yellow bullet point indicates a minor issue. Those items that meet Yoast's SEO-friendly criteria are rewarded with a green bullet point. The Content and SEO Analysis tool has two tabs, namely the Readability tab and the SEO Analysis tab. Each tab has a color indicator that represents all the factors as a whole. The Readability tab analyzes factors with regard to the readability of our text, including the sentence and paragraph length, presence and distribution of subheadings, use of a passive voice as compared to an active voice, the use of transition words, and our Flesh Reading Ease score, which measures how difficult our text is to read. In this example, the plugin alerts us that we have exceeded the total recommended amount of 300 words following a subheader, suggesting that we insert another subheader. It also states that nearly 1/3 of our sentences exceed the recommended maximum of 20 words, and, according to the Flesh Reading Ease test, we can improve our article by using shorter sentences, making the content easier to read. The second tab is the SEO Analysis tab. If you haven't selected a focus keyword yet, this tab will read, "Enter your focus keyword." This phrase will be replaced by the focus keyword once it is entered into the focus keyword field. Within this tab is the snippet preview, which is a simulation of what our post will look like on a search engine's results page. By clicking the Edit Snippet button, we can create a meta description, which should be a short sentence that describes our content's topic. The meta description is the text that is displayed by Google below our URL on the search results page. As such, it's a very important aspect of SEO. The Analysis tab also includes the field where we enter our focus keyword. After entering our focus keyword, the plugin will analyze our content based on the keyword's presence in the title, heading, URL or permalink, content, the meta description, and the alt tag of our images. The plugin will also check for the presence of images and links in our article, the number of words in our article and the title length, keyword density, and whether or not we have used this keyword before. After making the suggested changes, we are rewarded with the green bullet points, indicating that we have followed the suggested best practices to improve the readability of our content and how well our page or post ranks in search engines. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss the Google Search Console, as well as register our site by verifying ownership. The Google Search Console, formerly Google Webmaster Tools, is a completely free and indispensably useful tool and can help kickstart the SEO process. The Search Console provides us with the ability to view incredibly detailed information about our site, as well as insight about its performance. First, we need to add and verify our site in the Search Console to prove to Google that we are the site owner, webmaster, or authorized user. The process of adding our site is fairly straightforward, and while there are a couple different methods of verifying ownership, we can easily connect our site to the Search Console using the Yoast SEO plugin. We begin by logging into our Search Console account. If you don't have an account, you can quickly create one. Once we are logged in, we can add our site by clicking the red Add Property button and then typing in our website's URL. It's important that the URL we enter here matches the preferred domain we previously specified in the WordPress settings screen. After we've confirmed that the URL matches our preferred domain, proceed by clicking the Add button. Next, we are asked to verify our site. There are a couple different ways we can go about this. The recommended method is to download and upload the HTML verification file. That's way too complicated, especially considering the Yoast SEO plugin allows us to easily connect our website to the Google Search Console from within the admin area of WordPress. This is really simple. All we need to do is click on the Alternate Method tab, select HTML tag, and copy the code that is in parentheses after content. Leave this page open since we are going to return to it shortly. In a separate tab, log into your WordPress account. Go to SEO from the left side navigation menu and click Dashboard. Click on the Webmaster Tools tab and paste the code under Google Search Console. Don't forget to click the Save Changes button. We're nearly done. Switch back over to the Google Search Console and click the Verify button. And that's it. We've successfully added and verified our site with the Google Search Console. In this tutorial, we'll cover the Yoast SEO's Titles and Metas panel, which allows us to configure the title and meta description settings for our WordPress site. After clicking on Titles and Metas from the left side navigation menu, we are taken to the screen that first displays the General tab. Here, we can select which separator symbol we want to use in our page and post titles when appearing in search results. We can also enable or disable the Readability Analysis tab or the Keyword Analysis feature from the Yoast SEO tool that is built into the WordPress page or post editor. We encourage that these are set to enabled so we can view suggestions regarding content readability, the appropriate use of keywords, customize options in the snippet preview field, and much more, simply from within the editor. Now, moving on to the Homepage tab. The options on this page will vary depending on how we have configured our front page display settings. To elaborate, under the WordPress Reading Settings panel, which can be accessed by going to Settings and then clicking on Reading, we can choose between having our front page set to display our latest posts or a static page by which we select the pages we want for our front page and which page our posts to appear on from the drop-down menus. If the front page display setting is set to a static page, we don't have many options under the Yoast SEO Homepage tab. This is because we have assigned pages for each, so we can customize the title and meta description by editing it from within the Yoast tool that is built into the WordPress page editor on each of the respective pages. However, if the front page is set to display latest posts, the Yoast SEO plugin will provide us with the option to customize the title template and meta description here, since we don't have a page or post editor for the home page. Let's quickly discuss the title template structure. It's important that we are familiar with this structure before proceeding to the other tabs. The formulas here consist of variables that act as placeholders for the actual content. For example, the placeholder site name, surrounded by two percentage symbols, is the variable for the name of our site, so it will be replaced with the actual site name when rendered in a web browser. In our example, our title template for our home page includes the site name, followed by the separator symbol, which is the symbol we just assigned in the General tab, followed by the site description. There are many variables that you can insert to create your own custom formula. You can access a list of variables by clicking on the Help Center drop-down menu, which includes a list of basic variables and advanced variables. There's no magic formula for SEO. However, we suggest to always include the site name variable, especially on the title templates for pages and posts, which we'll get to next. Reason being, in the absence of the site name variable, Google will automatically include the name of our site. So by including it here, we have more control over how our title appears in search results. In the Post Types tab, we can customize our templates for the titles, as well as our meta descriptions for our posts, pages, and media. But wait, why would we do that if there is the option to customize for each page and post from within the Yoast tool built into the editor? Well, that's a great question. The templates that we create in this section enable the plugin to automatically create titles and descriptions in the event that we leave the fields in the WordPress editor empty. This ensures that Google receives some information, rather than nothing at all. On the Post Types tab, we have some advanced options, such as the ability to control whether or not meta robots should index the post type. Of course, we want search engines to index our content, so we'll leave this set to index. We can also select whether to show or hide the date in the snippet preview. It is probably best that this is hidden. However, some may choose to enable this if they have a blog with recent news or other time-sensitive content. We can also show or hide the Yoast SEO meta box option from the editor. We'll leave this set to show, since it provides us with the most flexibility when customizing the meta description for individual pages and posts. Similar to the Post Types tab, in the Taxonomies tab, we can customize the title template and meta description for our categories and tags, as well as post format, if applicable. In the Archives tab, we can enable or disable author archives. We should disable this if we are running a single author blog. For context, author archives allow site visitors to see all of the posts associated with a particular author. If we have a single author blog, there's no reason to have an author archive, since all it's doing is creating an exact duplicate of our content. Now, if we have multiple authors on our site, we can enable author archives. However, it's very wise to select the No Index option to prevent robots from indexing duplicate content. Don't stress too much about the complexities of duplicate content. There are many myths regarding its impact on SEO. However, if you can avoid it by simply clicking a button, we encourage that you do so. The same options apply for the date archive settings, or date-based archives. For example, some blogs have the option to filter posts by date, for example by month or year. By default, WordPress enables date archives, so if you like, you can disable it here. If enabled, we suggest that the No Index option is selected. Lastly, the Other tab includes the site-wide meta settings for our site. We have the option to index or no index these subpages of archives. It is wise to leave this set to no index, which again prevents search engines from indexing duplicate content. Next, we have the option to enable or disable meta keyword tags. It's funny that Yoast states, "I don't know why you'd use meta keywords, but if you do, enable this." He says this because Google no longer uses meta keyword tags in their algorithm for search rankings, and other search engines, such as Yahoo or Bing, rarely use them, and if they do, they accredit very little weight to them. As such, it's safe to leave this option disabled. Finally, we have the option to enable or disable the use of the No ODP command. ODP stands for Open Directory Project, or DMOZ directory. If your website is listed in DMOZ, there's a chance that Google may pull the listing information from DMOZ to use in the Google directory. So by enabling the No ODP command site-wide, we are telling Google not to pull the information, but rather use the title and description we create, giving us more control over what is displayed on the Google search results page. The settings that we implement through the titles and metas section are very important, as they allow us to create accurate, relevant, and most importantly, effective titles and meta descriptions for our WordPress site. In this tutorial, we'll show you how to configure the social settings in the Yoast SEO plugin. Setting up our profiles will inform search engines which social media profiles are associated with our WordPress site. We'll also introduce you to the Social tab that is featured in the Post editor, which allows us to preview what our following will see when sharing our article on Facebook or Twitter. From this tab, we can customize our featured image, title, and description. Let's begin by navigating to the Social Settings menu by going to SEO from the left side navigation menu and clicking Social. We'll start with the Accounts tab. Here, we can enter in the information for each of our social media profile accounts. Now that our profile information is entered, search engines will be informed that these social media profiles are associated with our website. We can also customize our settings for Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. Let's start with the Facebook tab. The first option is to enable or disable Open Graph Metadata. The Open Graph protocol enables our website to become a rich object in a social graph, giving it the same functionality as any other objects on Facebook and other platforms using the same protocol. For this to happen, basic metadata needs to be added to our page. So as long as this option is enabled, the Yoast plugin will take care of this for us. Otherwise put, it will add the required code Facebook needs to share the image, title, and description when sharing a page or post. The only time we want this option disabled is if we are using another social media plugin that outputs Open Graph metadata. By default, the Yoast plugin will use the featured image on a page or post. We can assign a default image that will be used if our page or post is missing a featured image. Lastly, the Yoast SEO plugin includes a Facebook Insights feature that provides us with additional statistics about our website inside our Facebook account. In order for this to work, we need to add our admin account, which can be done by clicking the Add Facebook Admin button while logged in to our Facebook account. The Twitter tab features a similar metadata option, so we want to keep this enabled. We can also specify the default card to use by selecting from either the summary or a summary with a large image option. Pinterest uses the same Open Graph metadata as Facebook. We don't need to do anything here since it is already enabled on the Facebook tab. If we haven't yet, we can confirm our website with Pinterest. This can easily be done in the account settings screen of our Pinterest account, so we can skip this step. In the Google Plus tab, we have the option to add our Google Plus page for business URL. The Yoast plugin includes an awesome social feature that is built into the page and post editor. In the Yoast window pane beneath the WordPress visual editor, click on the social icon below the traffic light, which is the icon for the content and SEO optimization tool. This section features two tabs, one for Facebook and one for Twitter. Here we can preview what our page or post will look like when shared. The default image is the featured image of our page or post, but we can change it by clicking on the Upload Image button and choosing a picture from our media gallery or uploading one from our computer. We can override the default title tags by entering our own custom title here, and if we don't want to use the default meta description when sharing the post, we can enter in a custom description. The same three options are available for Twitter. In this tutorial, we'll discuss breadcrumbs and dive into the breadcrumb tab in the advanced subpanel menu of the Yoast SEO plugin to show you how we can enable breadcrumbs on our site. Breadcrumbs, often referred to as a breadcrumb trail, appear at the top of the page and act as a secondary navigation system that helps the site visitor easily understand the relation between their current location and how they got there. First, let's discuss the three different classifications of breadcrumbs. Location-based, often referred to as hierarchy-based, breadcrumbs are most common and display the specific position of a page, or current location, within the site's hierarchical structure. Path breadcrumbs show the logical path the user has taken to get to a particular page or post. Lastly, keyword or attribute breadcrumbs include a specific keyword or attribute that represents the content being displayed on a page. This is very common on e-commerce sites, as it allows the user the ability to filter their search queries, thereby assisting them with finding the product or service they're looking for. We'll show you an example in just a moment. Before proceeding, let's quickly discuss why breadcrumbs are so important. First, location-based and/or hierarchy-based breadcrumbs allow the user to easily see where along the site architecture they are, and allow them to easily backtrack to higher level pages. For example, on Best Buy's website, we can easily navigate through the categories and subcategories of their products, which can help us locate the specific product we're searching for. In our Best Buy example, the site also has attribute-based breadcrumbs, so we can view the filters that we have applied in the process of narrowing down our search results, with the option to remove them. Ultimately, these types of breadcrumbs encourage browsing and improve the findability of our site, two direct benefits associated with breadcrumbs. Another very important aspect associated with breadcrumbs is, yep, you got it, breadcrumbs provide a direct SEO benefit. Reason being, they help search engine spiders discover related content on our site. Essentially, breadcrumbs provide search engines with logical access to the inner and outer pages of our website and help them understand the overall structure of our site, casting an overall positive impact on SEO. We can use the Yoast SEO plugin to add this functionality to our site and begin displaying breadcrumbs. Before we show you how this is done, it's important to note that breadcrumbs need to be implemented through our WordPress theme. If we enable breadcrumbs through the Yoast SEO plugin and don't see them on our pages or posts, it's likely that our theme doesn't support breadcrumbs. Many popular themes already support Yoast SEO breadcrumbs, but if they don't, we can implement them by editing our theme, which we'll get to shortly. Let's begin by navigating to SEO from the left side navigation menu and opening the Advanced menu item. By default, breadcrumbs are disabled. Upon enabling them, we are presented with a series of options for customizing how we would like them to appear on our site. For example, we can choose to have a different separator symbol between breadcrumb links, change the anchor text for the homepage, and specify a prefix for the breadcrumb path, archive, search, and 404 pages. There is also an option to enable or disable breadcrumbs on the blog page. Currently, this option isn't displayed due to the way our example site is set up. That is, we don't have a static homepage or a designated blog page for that matter, but instead have the front page set to display our latest blog posts. For example purposes, we can choose to have a static homepage and list our blog articles under another page by going to Settings, Reading, and choosing a static page from the front page display options, and then selecting the respective pages. After making these changes, we are then presented with the option to enable or disable breadcrumbs on the blog page. We also have the option to make the last page in the breadcrumb trail appear in bold. Lastly, we can choose which taxonomy we want to use for our posts. For example, the category, tag, or custom post type, and can have a prominent word displayed as the breadcrumb link for our pages. For this example, we are going to select category for our posts. This way, our site visitor can easily backtrack to our category archive page and view similar posts. Now, circling back to themes and whether or not they support breadcrumbs. If enabling this option doesn't work, then breadcrumbs are not supported by our theme. However, we can still add breadcrumbs by copying the code snippet that Yoast provides us with in the link below and pasting it into our theme file where we want the breadcrumbs to appear. If you're not comfortable editing code in your theme files, we encourage that you don't attempt this. There's nothing worse than a broken site that requires fixing from a professional. However, adding the code to a theme is a quick task, so you can always hire a developer that can quickly add this functionality to your theme, or alternatively, contact your theme developer. This isn't an odd request, and most theme developers will likely assist you with implementing breadcrumbs. It so happens that the theme we are using for our example site does not support breadcrumbs. Therefore, to implement breadcrumbs, I simply followed Yoast's instructions and added the code snippet to our theme's header template file. This is as simple as going to Appearance from the left side navigation menu, opening the editor, locating the theme header template, or header.php, and pasting the code snippet at the very end. After saving my changes, a couple of things happened. First, the breadcrumbs now appear on my site. Secondly, an additional menu item has been added to my theme customizer, so we can now make changes to the series of options that were previously listed in the breadcrumb tab in Yoast's Advanced subpanel menu. There are some missing items in the customizer, such as the options to make the last word in bold and select the taxonomy we would like to use for our pages and posts. As expected, we can still make those changes from within the Yoast subpanel menu, just not here in the customizer. Again, breadcrumbs have many benefits, including increasing the usability of our site, and with regard to SEO, having breadcrumbs is a suggested best practice as it helps search engines crawl our site. In the Advanced menu of the Yoast SEO plugin, there is the RSS feed tab, and here we are provided with settings that allow us to control and protect the content that is distributed through our RSS feed. For context, an RSS feed, which stands for Rich Site Summary, or Really Simple Syndication, is a widely adopted technology that allows our site visitors to receive updates when new content is published. This is all done through dedicated programs such as a feed reader or news aggregator. RSS feeds are great, but unfortunately there is a downside. People can easily copy our work by way of content scrapers, thereby automatically reposting our articles from our feed on their own blog. We refer to this as automatic syndication, or automatic posting, and it is quite common. One way to fight against the RSS copy-paste blogger and their content scraping shenanigans is to grab a backlink from our copied article. This way, by having the copied article link back to our site, Google knows where the original source is actually coming from. The Yoast SEO plugin allows us to do just that, namely add links back to our site within the content before and after each post. So if someone does scrape our content, at least we'll receive credit as the original source. Let's talk for a moment about how this impacts SEO. If content scraping occurs, the scraper site is essentially pulling the content from our feed and republishing it in an attempt to use our valuable content to rank higher in search engines, thereby increasing their site traffic. If the scraper site has more authority than our blog, it will likely outrank us, even though this is our article. Therefore, having the functionality to add links back to our site can help Google float our content to the top of search engines, since they know that we are the originator, which is definitely what we want. By default, the Yoast plugin will create a link back to the original post on our site and include a link to our site's blog, which is referenced in the phrase, "This post appeared first on." This will automatically be added to each post on our RSS feed. We can get creative here and use HTML in these messages, or choose from a list of variables shown below, and choose as to whether we want the messages before or after each post in the feed, or both. There are a couple different variables that we can use, and each option includes a description of what it displays, listed to the right of each variable below. For example, the author link variable will display a link to the author's archived page and will include the author's name as the link's anchor text. A common best practice is to add a unique, abnormal, and possibly strange word here. This way, we can easily find the scrapers by Googling our specific post titles. For example, Yoast adds whoopity-doo to all the articles published on his feed. By adding these custom messages with backlinks to our site and our feed's content, we are protecting our work while at the same time telling search engines that we are the original source of the published articles.